Hi, I'm Eric Friedman. I'm the Executive Director of the Mad River Valley Chamber of Commerce, and we're here for our next edition of Tailgate Talk with Aron Shea, one of the co-owners of the Valley Meade Dispensary. Aron, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Eric.
No, I appreciate it. It's good to have you. And so we're out in front of your shop here. So tell me a little bit about. Oh, we got to get the Harleys going by here. So surprised they didn't pop in,
Yeah.
right? So how did you get into this business? It's kind of a crazy story, right?
Yeah, it's an interesting story. My brother and I started a business together, and we wanted to get into real estate. And the first property that we bought was a farm, and we had a friend who suggested, kind of said, "Hey, they're getting ready to legalize cannabis," and so we were like, "Okay, we'll get a license," and we tried it, and we were one of the early on licenses to get, and we really fell in love with it. And we decided a really good way to merge our businesses was to um, open the retail store and own the building as well. So we've kind of been able to translate our real estate business bizarrely into cannabis.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. A lot of people have been waiting for like the whole cannabis legalization thing for years and like getting ready for it, and you kind of just sort of stumbled into it, huh?
Definitely kind of stumbled into it. We've definitely very into the medicinal and health benefits of cannabis. We've always kind of been into that, and we've been enthusiasts. Not, we don't have a huge legacy in the market, but we definitely enjoy it, and we love having it be a part of our overall business portfolio.
That's cool. So tell me about what your other business is. You guys are into real estate development. That's really like the main thing, right?
Yep. Yeah. So we do we kind of right now our main thing is doing lot development, trying to create parcels for people. Actually also we have short-term rentals and we have long-term rentals, and right now we're looking into starting to do home building, and we have a system where we can build homes much quicker and cheaper than a lot of the people on the market right now, and it just gives a really it enables people to be able to build. Right now, a lot is useless because it costs so much to build and it takes so much time. Everybody's busy. So we're kind of trying to open the door on that.
Yeah, one of the things I noticed since you guys moved to town here is that you're really concerned about the long-term viability of the community and making sure that you're part of the solution in terms of housing. I've been really impressed with that. So, how do you feel about like the housing situation and how Shea Properties might be able to help alleviate that situation a little bit?
We're definitely interested in that. We're heavily invested in the valley, and we really love it here. And we want to make sure that everybody who is in the service industry, which really drives a lot of our economy, has a place to live that's not 40 minutes away or triple what they can afford. We try and keep rates reasonable so that locals are able to afford to live, and that's kind of what our long-term plan is. And everybody can see it just in the businesses that have been closing down. It's very hard to get help, and it's because nobody can live here. So, we've been working through a lot of things to try and just open up the door for housing, and that's like I said, that's why we're getting into the building side is because people just don't have access to a reasonable way to build. So we're trying to alleviate that issue because even if somebody could afford a lot right now, they can't afford to build on it. So that's kind of been a major pressure point for this area, particularly. We're just a very tourist-driven economy, and you don't have people to work on the other side of the bar. You don't have very much tourism.
Yeah, that's for sure. No, but it's interesting that the way that you and your brother and your sister-in-law have like kind of developed these businesses, and it seem like they wouldn't necessarily be related, but they kind of are, aren't they?
They definitely are. They kind of, and again, for my for Corey and for Emily, for my family, we're very much into a lot of the health benefits that come with cannabis, and I just find that really really fascinating. Um, there's some really really unbelievable stories of what it's been able to do for people with really really serious chronic illness and chronic pain. But you know the interconnectedness for us, it's more about just overall the valley. And so that's why we've recently got our liquor license upstairs here. We want to start doing some live music and adding a little bit, trying to have fun things for the community to do. That's why we've been having, some of our shows upstairs and that kind of thing. So for us, we just want people to have a good place to hang out and have a place to live after they're done hanging out.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I tell you, you guys have been such an asset to the community since you've been here. It's been really nice to have new blood in here and, and doing the, like I said, live music, opening up the store here. One of the things you told me a while back about was one of the reasons that you purchased this property. Tell me why, because of the investment over here with the recreation hub.
Yeah, we had obviously you and I had spoken, and I had spoken to a few other people around who were involved early on with the addition of the rec hub and the connection of the mountain bike paths. That I know you guys were heavily involved in that, and
it's even going to happen.
I'm sure it will.
This summer, on my fingers and toes
as long as there's no
crossed.
floods. But for us, we just see this kind of as the center, kind of the heartbeat of the town in a weird way, even though there's not much here between what John's done across the street and the history. There's a lot of history at this corner, and we just really want to be a part of bringing it back. And yeah, the reason why we were interested in this building in the first place was purely because of that. And, we saw the changes that a similar thing had made for the town of Burke, that went from a very, very, very small locals mountain to a destination, and it helps the whole economy. It brings in a ton of people, and like I said, that's why we really saw the value of this property.
So someone might think of you as a visionary.
No, no.
A little visionary.
It's a little bit. We're creative. We love what we do every day, and when you love what you're doing, it's you come
never
across
have to work,
some,
right?
Yeah, we have a lot of fun, and we try to stay in front of the money, and that's I spent 20 years as a project manager in construction. I'm a mechanical engineer by schooling, and only by schooling, and so when we got out of that wastewater, my brother was in the same business as well. It was a really, really big change, but yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. It's great. It's great to have you in the Valley, and it's great to have you, here at the dispensary. And we got KS Coffee here, and we got. Well, I'm pointing over here. Dynabones isn't here today, but
Not here today,
but yeah, it's pretty cool. You're getting like a whole little. It's almost like a mini mall here.
Yeah, like I said, we just want to kind of add the heartbeat back to this intersection and give people a place to go grab stuff. There's a couple of really, really great places to grab lunch in the town, but there's not a ton of them.
Right.
So when you can add one or two extra spots and highlight some of the like really cool like craft things that we have in our community, like Karen here she's a Q grader, which a lot of people don't know what that is, and it's like a sommelier of coffee, and it's really impressive. And she does all her own roasting, so it's really cool to showcase that, and also give a place where you can come across the street and get a coffee.
Right, it's amazing. People they come over to go to the bathroom, and they're like, "Oh my God, the coffee over here is really great." And then they're like, "Hey, and you can go to the car wash, and they have soup there." It's like only in the Valley, right? It's like one of those things.
For sure, and the Valley is like, it's the Valley. It's kind of like separated from a lot of the state, and so
a lot of people are probably glad about that, right?
No, maybe, but what it really does is it provides a lot. The multi-use spaces enable a smaller area like the Valley, where Lord knows the next thing we really need is pharmacy, but the diversification of different businesses is really important, so that people can have service in the Valley and they don't have to drive to one of the neighboring towns for whatever the needs are. And that's kind of what it is. It's just kind of multi-uses for your spaces.
Yeah, no, and so and interestingly about the dispensary, you guys grow as well, right?
Yeah.
So you have the farm, and you're also, tell us about this.
So this is a beverage that we came up with. It's a cannabis-infused seltzer, um, and it's very light, low calorie, and we called it Wooder.
Because of the Jersey
We have
thing.
origins in the Mid-Atlantic, so it definitely, that's how they say water down there.
Not
so
that, it's us, but
yeah, yeah. Well, so that's kind of what we've put together. We launched this, I want to say, in April, and right now we have two flavors. We have a third one coming, and we're in, I think, around 30 stores right now outside of our own.
Oh, dispensaries or? Yeah.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. So you guys grow. You have other stuff from lots of other
Yep.
brands as well. And anything else that's kind of special about the store you want people to know if they haven't been in?
I mean, the vision that we have for the store, we view the store as a farmer's market to get craft Vermont agriculture, and we spend a lot of time in the store really focusing on the quality of what we have. There's a lot of home growers in our state, and a lot of them in the valley specifically, and so when we opened, we kind of didn't really know where we were going to be focused as far as what's in, the what's inside the store. I kind of envisioned it. I had a liquor store in my head of, like, you have your low end stuff, your mid stuff, and kind of going up.
We're only going top shelf here.
And instead, what we did is our whole table is premium products, and we have volume deals. And so it kind of enables people who use a lot of it for whatever reason they use it for to buy volume, and then also have some of the really craft like stuff. And it's very interesting for me. I've always been a Vermont beer guy, and I kind of view our flower market as very similar. It's really great, and it's fun when you have tourists come and they see the products on the
Couple
table.
right there right now, right?
Exactly, from Massachusetts, believe it or not.
What percentage of the business is local versus out of state?
It's very seasonal, so that changes obviously throughout the year. I mean, in the shoulder seasons, it's
All local,
it's
yeah.
drastically dominated by locals, and in the touristy seasons, not so much.
And it's Harley season, obviously.
Well, a day like today,
Yep.
we don't get a lot of these in Vermont, but it's yeah, we've really focused on locals. Our staff, we've had a lot of our core staff since the first day, and they're all familiar faces for the Valley, and that was really important to us. We wanted people to feel welcome and to know that this is like a community store. And we're very focused on education, and I wanted for anyone to come in and feel welcome. And I kind of use this as the story for why we kind of did what we did. I went to Massachusetts to a dispensary before we opened, and I brought my mom, who's never smoked weed in her life, and I had her go in front of me in line and walk in and to see how they would help her, like not having a clue. And it was really sad what I saw. And it was very poor treatment, and he wasn't unpleasant. It was just like eye roll, great. And I talked to him, and he kind of and I told him, and he what he said to me was, he said, "Well, it doesn't matter. It's all about how quickly we move people. It doesn't matter." And I wanted everything here to be the exact opposite of that. If somebody wants to shop through the whole store and see everything that's in there, awesome. If somebody wants an education, we have unbelievably knowledgeable bud tenders who can teach them whatever they want. And I want somebody like my mother, who's never done it, to say, "Oh, well, it's legal now," and just come with curiosity and learn about it. I don't care if you buy anything. We have a whole hallway of educational information so that people can learn about what it is and what it can do and what the benefits are. And there's a lot of parts to the plant that do a lot of different things. And I think that's CBD kind of came in and started to change that stigma. And there's a lot more of that learning to happen, and I think there's going to be a lot of cool things that come from it.
Yeah, it's great to see you guys, focusing on the experience. My experience at Mad River Glen all those years working up there was like, I knew it wasn't about marketing. It was about the experience and making sure people had a good time and really elevating that experience the best you can. And, just coming in here as often as I do, being right across the street from you, I see that all the time. And, people do feel welcome. I think I was in here a couple of weeks ago when there was someone coming in and had never been in before. And I was really impressed at the way your folks dealt with them, and we're really inviting and open, and I noticed they actually walked out with something, which is a good thing, right?
I appreciate you saying that. We're like really lucky to have just a lot of knowledge and customer service. We want people to feel comfortable. We worked with a consultant at the very beginning, and I told him I was going to get the NFL ticket and put the games on every Sunday. And he said to me, well, do you want a place where people can hang out, or do you want to sell weed? And I said, yes.
Yep.
And I think it showed his lack of understanding for the community in Vermont. He was more business focused. And I said, I want people to stay there as long as they want. And like I said, we're happy to spend 2 hours educating somebody or not. But we just want to be a part of just the education process and help grow it and help service the industry. And like I said, it's really interesting if you sit in there during the day. At least half of our customers are people coming in who are dealing with pain, who are dealing with backache, who can't sleep, who can't do these other things. And my own father had been taking melatonin for years. Well, your body creates melatonin, and when you take it, it stops. So you're not really helping the situation. There's a cannabinoid called CBN that does the exact same thing, except it doesn't change the chemistry of your body. It just kind of lulls you to sleep. And so the amount of people that we see have, pain relief and sleeping through the night and that kind of thing, like that is it's really probably the most satisfying part of the whole thing for me.
That's great. So let me ask you something. I want to wrap up with this. So you've been open almost 2 years, right?
It will be 2 years in December.
Okay, so almost 2 years. What's the craziest thing you've seen so far?
In the store.
Or in the Valley generally.
The honest truth is, you're going to hate this answer. There's not really anything that jumps out at me as far as we honestly have really good customers. I talk to other dispensary owners and I hear stories and I'm just blown away by the stuff that they deal with. And we just, everybody's not the same, but all of our customers have been pretty respectful for the most part. And anytime we had any issues, it was addressed and everybody was polite. And, the Valley is what the Valley is. There's lots of stories, but, the dispensary's kind of turned into the new barber shop. So we obviously hear lots of stories there. But there's nothing there. It's really, the business is really not crazy. It's a business just like any other. And like I said,
So I got better stories coming out of Mad River Glen, huh?
I would say for sure.
All right. So anything else you want to add about the shop? Or, I'd also like to find out how people can get information about the shows coming up here. And...
Yeah, we right now we work with a local performer named Mr. Burns. And so his website is mrburnsvt.com. And we partner with him on most of the stuff we do. So we have a show coming up August 13th at Alfie's in Stowe with two of the members from Jurassic 5, Charlie Tuna and Cut Chemist. And usually Instagram is kind of our best vehicle for communicating those things. We've started.
Hang on one second. I was pointing this out. The V-Trans guys, nonstop, right? Have they been all weekend, Saturdays, Sundays?
I've been unbelievably impressed by the amount of work that's gotten done. I live in Montpelier. Our businesses are in Waitsfield. We had the flood exactly a year before this.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And you heard about that? And just explaining to some of my friends in Montpelier how much worse this storm was than the other one
Yeah, it's hard to wrap your head
It's
around,
hard.
right?
It's hard to fathom because the whole town is underwater. But that did a lot more damage to property, and this did a lot of structural infrastructure
roads and-
damage.
yeah.
But I've been very impressed with. I don't say that very often.
No, you
But-
don't.
But they've been out there moving and getting people in and out of the valley. I was very concerned when we went down to that single lane bridge
Yeah.
on Meadow. I was very concerned about people getting in and out of the valley.
Well, there's worse places to be trapped,
You're not wrong about that.
Right.
You're not wrong about that.
and we got the dispensary, so like we're
We've
not
got
going to run out for a while.
Just as long as nobody needs any pharmaceuticals.
There you go. Well, I really appreciate you joining me on the tailgate today. We'll hopefully get you back, and I know you're like one of our guinea pigs with our first first interviews over here. So I hope I didn't horrify you too much.
You can't.
Awesome, Aron. Thanks so much for coming.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Take care.
Yep.